Yeah.
Originally I'm a churchman from I was a kid in Jamaica. When I came here, I was 15 in England.
Churchman, as in a choir.
I was in a choir, and I used to sing in a choir at school as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where my head rests in music until I actually came to England and find my mother with a gram. Yeah?
Yeah, the
And she have all the labels where you have the scale label and all them things. And I find my mother with it. So,
Junior must make them know so that Gram is top of the range stereo with that car.
Yeah.
Blue spot.
Yeah, call a lot of the people, them young people, will say, Gram, what is that you said?
Yes, what are you saying?
People what my brethren tell him, I said the blue spot.
I did think that.
Gram is like you have a top of the range thing. What
not
the
saying
best music
For your grandma's a rude girl.
Point taken. Well, as card to life, a gram is what they call a top of the range stereo. We call it record changer.
Yeah, grandpa, gramophone.
Radiogram.
That's that's right.
Gramophone.
Yeah.
Gramophone.
A radio.
Okay, that's it, that
So
one.
therefore, I sit down inside of my house for a week and play a record day in, day out. And my mother said to me, well, boy, I look like me have to go buy a little record shop because you sell your things. So I never said nothing. And my mother play a piano. And there was an acoustic piano in the front room. And I goes on the second week, she get me a job. And the first wages me earned was 6.9 pence.
Wow.
I mean, my record. Yeah, I go a record shop and buy my record. And 2 tours before you know it, I actually buy an amplifier, cut it short, amplifier for £50. And the amplifier lead to a speaker box. I went to buy a speaker in Norton Road, but didn't have a box to put it in. So what I did, I chop up my mother gram. Yeah, I chop up her record, chop it up, and that was my speaker box. And it goes on from there. And I end up having a sound system at the end of the day. The first party I played at was a christening, and I had a box made. It was about 6 foot tall with a 10-inch speaker in it. And we didn't have, a transportation to take the box to the christening. So what we did, me and my mate, we drag it all the way up the road until we reach the dance. And that's where I started from, until I actually have my own sound system, which is called Solar Junior. Music, concerning record, music, whatever the case may be.
What year was the sound system?
What
year did you have the sound system?
I had a sound system from, I would say from 70s, early 70s until about late 70s, which I used to play with Count Steve, Suggestus, Evil Coxon,
Lord Coles.
Not Lord Coles. I used to go to Lord Coles dance, like the clubs, them and what's not, Bluesville and all about the place. And going back to songs and record, my era was Toots and the Maytals. So it was always groups. Toots and the Maytals, the pioneers. They're talking about the Melodians. You're talking about Silvertones and all these sort of people, Caledonians.
Yeah.
That was my song, because that's what I used to hear in church and also at school, where we used to have music listening. And it from there, the music, when I was listening to music, I always, some songs that I like, I always think that I'm actually doing it. And I used to sit in my room and sing with the actual record. Until eventually I meet a guy called Fitzroy Sterling. These days they call him
Body Music, owner of Body Music in Seven Sisters.
So we used to work together as a youngster. Yeah. And he had the knowledge of playing the keyboard. So he wanted to start a group. And he wanted me to sing with them, but I got frightened. I was nervous, so I didn't know how and what to do. So I still got him into the house, my mother's house, and he played the piano, and he brought a guy called Terry and the next one called Derek. They was the Sons of Jah. And it's my house I used to practice. And that's all. And then I had the sound system. I used to buy my 1 and 2 records. So he used to work for Mr. Palmer at the time.
Distributing records.
Yes.
Back in the
Shops.
Palmer days.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's how I used to get my records. The pre-release and the Palmer records and all what you've got here.
And those were the days, Junior, that when you say fixed ride, work for Mr. Palmer, you'd be driving a van to Sheffield, Liverpool,
Yes.
Manchester,
Yes.
wherever.
Yes.
When the record business, when a tune like Wet Dream could stay in the British charts at number 2 for 42 weeks without getting airplay.
And they play that without mercy.
Go on.
Every time.
Go on, continue.
And it goes on until eventually I started to have my family. And I realized I was spending vast amount of money on the sound system, but not receiving enough
Coming back.
to keep me afloat. I have loads of virgins around me and they had to keep their family as well. So therefore I said I'm gonna put the sound system down a little bit and to keep my family up on top. So I switched the sound system to my brother-in-law and I started getting on with my life. But I couldn't do without the music, so I rushed again to Jesus. That's where I started, sound system. And I started to DJ on Jesus Sound. And we all about in England we go. And tour all about the place. Until eventually I got really wild several nights and started singing. So a guy called Clem Boucher, who used to produce, he produced Louisa Mark. It done the both of us the same night. Louisa Marks and myself and Trevor Dixon.
Which tune was that, Junior?
Keep It Like It Is.
Mm.
You know the tune?
Yeah.
Baby, I need some time to consider.
Boom.
That night, and then I and a virgin of mine called what we sing a tune called From Delilah we sing tune, the tune called
Better Must Come.
No Better Must Come, man. The Bob Marley tune Delilah sing over.
Talking Blues.
No, Waiting Bien.
I don't want to wait in there. Hold on, I'll come back.
We'll come back.
Yeah, and we sing the song in the studio that night, and also when we done the song, it was doing quite well. Then eventually Clem Boucher take the rhythm and give it to Sidney Crooks. And you have this guy called Mexicano.
Oh yeah.
Did that? You remember the tune now?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
Hear me now, Starkey.
Well, I sing the lead on that. I do the thing on that. I'm still waiting. And that was doing fine until Move Up Starsy come on this thing. That's your Mexicano band.
Yeah.
You know whose brother is that?
Eddie Grant.
brother.
Eddie Grant.
Yeah. So I was moving in the circle all the way round and round until eventually I buck up Leon in that circle. We all was musician, vocalists, until eventually me and Leon link up in a place called Britain Street.
Brixton.
No,
Gooseberry.
Brixton Prison.
And the the chocolate and the comic game. Anyway, Britain Street studio where there's child thing, charity thing. And we sit there that night and all of us was just reminiscing on old songs like Wish It Would Rain.
All the raps that is.
Sunshine, blue sky,
Please go away.
my
Girl has found another
and
gone away.
With my future, my life is filled with gloom. So day after day, I get locked up in my room. I know to you, my soul strange. Yeah. Me and Leon that night, I woke up.
How I wish it would rain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man, boom, Joe, man.
And so on. It goes from one extreme to the next.
We are singing some melodians and all kind of unique, everything, man.
And eventually, years gone by before, I was in a band, Zabandis.
Zabandis.
Moved from there, we worked with Zabandis, we were back in people like Dillinger. We were back in people like John Wood.
Lee Perry.
We were back in people, no, when I moved to SUS.
Yes.
We was back in people like Delaware, Washington, them time, the Delaware, Washington, a big thing in England. And we was back in people like Fred Lux, which you know of. People like Sidney Rogers, which have one album from, what's his name? Larry Lawrence.
Yes.
Stable. And so on and so forth. I went through the ranks. And eventually, at the end of the day, me and these guys end up together. And so I haven't regret anything I've done along the way. So that's me.
And one